So I'm here now with Rudy, Montijo, and we're here to talk today. You released this book, Mental Legacy, and there's a lot of things in here. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I know it's 100 pages. I've read some of the things. Obviously, we've chatted a little bit off camera as well, but for those wanting to know who you are, first off, I guess we can jump right into it. Where does your story sort of begin, whether it's childhood or if you wanted to start when some of these things happen?
I mean, a lot of who I am is a result of childhood, my parents, how I was raised, my dad, my mom, my culture, the work ethic they instilled in me. That being said, as I got older, I took a turn towards alcoholism and addiction. And the real story of the book and how the book came to be started when I got sober in 2013. And that really sparked the love and the passion for personal development and growth. I saw myself becoming a different person, and I liked that version of myself. I didn't like the old person. So whenever you're transforming and changing, you're dealing with some shame and guilt from the past life as you're building your new one. And as I got older and continued to grow in my career, have kids and separation and dealing with these emotions, sobriety has always been the baseline. So regardless of where that was, and it hasn't been a perfect path by any means. I've relapsed a couple times and had to learn from those experiences. But I think the biggest takeaway from all of that and what I put in the book is the skills that I've acquired from all these different modalities, whether it was 12 steps, all the books that I've read, therapy, coaching, triathlons, and just life and people in general. Using what I've learned to apply those on a daily basis to really navigate life. Like we had a conversation this morning about things, and just because I talk about that, and I don't even like using the term expert. Like a questionnaire I got was, "You're an expert in this field." It's like I don't know if I call myself an expert, but I'm a human being who's experiencing these emotions and feelings and navigating them the best that I can. Just like you, I'm just talking about them openly.
Right. I mean, that's something in this area of life. It's really not even an area of life. It kind of is just life. There's no such thing as expertise. It's, hey, I've gone through things, and what I've learned, and I know you're experiencing this too, just the way I can tell by the way you're talking, is when you go through things and you get to a point where you can share, it does help others because you're able to relate, because everybody has their own stuff they're going through all the time, whether it is alcohol addiction or anything really. They've got things, so when they hear people that have gone through it and are still going through it every day and they're honest about it, I think it lands with people, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're all going through something, and it doesn't matter what you make, where you're from. We're all going to have those similar human emotions, and we think that we're the only one going through it at the time. And so we put this weight on ourselves that is really unnecessary. When we share that with somebody else and just connect, we automatically feel better because we've shared our problem, or we share what we're going through to someone else who can relate to us, and that really helps us to kind of navigate and figure out where we got to go next.
So your struggle with alcohol, to go there, like when it started. So you were a football player at University of Arizona. Was that where it began? Was that where it kind of came to a head?
No, so there's different ideologies behind alcoholism. I think I was born with it, and it really activated as I continued to drink. At U of A, when I was playing football, I really blew that opportunity, so to speak. I didn't take advantage of it. I didn't put all my heart into practice and watching film and doing things. And so in hindsight, I see how it played a role, because when you're in it, you don't really realize that you're in it. It's not until you accept the fact that you have a problem that you realize it was a problem to begin with. But it really escalated. And then in hindsight, I got in trouble with the law a couple times when I was in college. And you start to write these things out and see the pattern. And once you can see the pattern of things that are taking place in your life, you can say, okay, I can see the tangible evidence here, how this might have been a problem, and that really helps a person accept the facts of their situation. It doesn't have to be addiction. It can be relationships, physical health, whatever it is. But connecting those dots allows you to accept it so you can actually move forward and have a resolution to the problem.
When in your life did you start having that self-realization? Because I think, you talked about 12-step programs. That's always like one of the first things is realizing, hey, I have an issue. When did you first realize that?
It was after college. The fact that I was a high achiever all through high school, all through college, I was able to do things and perform at a high level, much higher than my peers. With this, it hid the actual gravity and how bad the addiction was. It wasn't until I was a little bit older and got into a relationship and started recognizing things happening. I know I had a lunch with my mom planned, and I had drank too much the night before. I was hungover, and so I kind of called and canceled on her. And I started seeing how I was failing to meet obligations in life and things that were really important to me. You know, I can say they're important to me verbally, but my actions are going to dictate how important they really are. So I always say, you know, to watch someone's actions, not their words. My actions weren't aligning with what I was saying. And that really hurt me. So nobody told me I had a problem. My dad had told me, he's been sober for like 42 years, but it didn't click or resonate with me. So once I started missing these obligations that were with people that were important to me, I picked up the phone and called back my insurance company, and I went out and sought help on my own. And that's when I first started going to an IOP program in Tucson. And that's when the light bulb really clicked off that, look, I might have an issue here that I have to do something about.
So now that you have gone through a lot of those things, and you're obviously still evolving, still growing, where has it led you in life? Obviously the book is one part of it now, but I know you do a lot of other things, public speaking and other aspects of your life as well.
It's led me to be more of an advocate. It holds me more accountable. One of the biggest reasons why I'm so public about what I do is because it holds me accountable. I can't go around in Scottsdale or Phoenix and openly, drink because I'm so vocal. And that's just me. Many people choose to not be vocal about it, and that's fine. But for me, accountability is a huge thing, and that's one way that I keep myself accountable and out of the shadows and into the light. But I think just connecting with people. I have a very diverse background. I do medical device sales, full time. I'm an entrepreneur in mental health. I'm a clinical therapist as well. So because I have a background of different work experiences in life, it helps me connect with multiple range of people, which is what I want to do. And I don't come from money. I'm not some person who has this crazy lifestyle. So I think the fact that I'm a human being with jobs and obligations, I think I can help relate to more people that way as well.
When did you believe that you had a book in you? Because I've learned through the years, and I'm still young and still have so much to learn, but a lot of people have a book in them. Whether or not they choose to share that eventually is sort of up to them. But I think when you go through things like you've gone through, there always is that opportunity there, and obviously you took advantage of it. So when did you think, okay, I need to get something out there in a book?
About 5 years ago. So about 5 years ago, I started writing the process, and I had the actual Enlighten program outlined, and it was piecing together. Life happens, and it set me back as far as a mental state of when I thought I was really able to do this as an authority. And so as I continued to excel and finish my master's degree, start seeing some clients, started another business, and then triathlons. When I got into triathlons, it was one of those things where it was very intimidating for me, and I didn't think I could do it. And the more I did them, the more I believed I could do that. So once I really completed the full Ironman last year, it put me on a whole new level of what I thought I was capable of doing. And that's when I really jumped in. I had lunch with a friend, and she had told me about this publishing company. I called, her name is Chris Crawley, who owns Game Changer Publishing. I called her. I remember I was in Denver. She told me about the process. I was on this high still from Ironman. And I said, all right, now's the time. I can talk about it, or I can just leap and do it. And so she sent me the contract. I gave her my credit card. I signed it. And 3 months later, the book was out there, and it materialized and came to fruition.
The Enlighten program you just talked about, is that an acronym that they would learn more about in the book? If it is, what does it stand for?
Yes, Enlighten is an acronym. It's a 7-step process. I like processes. I think it's easy to visualize, easy to remember. So the first one, E, stands for ego and accountability, which to me is the most important thing until you accept something and then really get your walls down, your defense mechanisms, so we can have a conversation. Doesn't matter if it's politics, a relationship, someone does something. Until you can have that two-way dialogue with yourself and somebody else, you really can't move forward. And then it goes on from there. So the next part talks about needs, which goal setting, both on a large scale macro and on a small scale micro, the day-to-day. The L is leadership traits. I think a lot of us float around not really knowing who the person we want to be is. So by implementing these characteristics and traits and then following those, it really makes a lot of decisions easy in life. There's no wavering. We know who we are, what we want to do, and how we're going to act in certain situations. Integration, which is the I, into those certain areas of life. T, training your thoughts. I'm really big on neuroscience and creating neural pathways. So talking about how to really get transformation that's going to last, which is if you can train your mind to react a certain way in different situations. Navy SEALs, for example, they're not good in situations that are high pressure, high stress because it's their first time. They've done this their entire career. So when the time comes, they react in a way that's going to produce a certain result. And we can do that in life. And then emotions. On the E part of it, I put on my therapist hat and really talk about tracing back your feelings, your triggers, what's causing you to feel this way, and not reacting to things. I think it's very important that we, as a society, as an adult, we learn how to emotionally regulate. And then nurturing all that. That's what the N stands for. So it's this process that goes through it. I like to think it's therapy in a box. It's not meant to, therapy in itself is not meant to go all the time, every day for life. I see a therapist to check in, but you're designed to get these skills to use them yourself so you can go out and be that person and not have to rely on anybody else and really have it yourself.
Right, so I'm guessing then this is the kind of book that someone could get. You're going to gain something from it every time you read it. It's a multiple read type thing, like you say, like therapy. You don't just go once, you go different times throughout your life. That's something you could pick up at different points in your life and reread, right?
You can pick it up and read it at different points in your life, and like a lot of things, you'll get something different from it. But the skills, once you learn them, you'll find yourself in situations pausing and saying, okay, how am I reacting? What needs to happen in the situation? What kind of person do I want to be to get this outcome? So once you read it, you'll understand the process, and that's the part that I like to take away because it's very applicable for different areas of life.
So Mental Legacy, that's the book. You're definitely going to want to check it out. Just a couple more things I wanted to touch on. I saw you got to spend some time down in Tucson with Brent Brennan, your head coach over at
Yeah.
What was that like?
Brent's an amazing guy. Him and his family, his wife Courtney, his brother Brad and Pat, I know their entire family. So Brent coached me under Dick Tomey when I was there. And when he got hired, I sent him a text, not expecting a reply because he's a head coach, and he sent me a reply. And we just connected from that point on. I've gone down several times. We've really built a friendship. And he's like a friend. And so when I go down to Tucson now, there's this welcoming environment. One, I'm an alumni. I played football there. But Brent is a special human being, from a coach, a family man, and just a person that makes you feel so welcome and valued and seen. We instantly connected. So he's big on mental health. I'm not sure if you're aware of the history, but I think his nephew or cousin was Colt Brennan, quarterback for Hawaii. And so mental health has always played a big part in his coaching strategies with his programs. He had a whole program over at San Jose State. And so we talked on the phone, and he was like, absolutely, I would love to do whatever I can to help support you. So I sent him the manuscript. He took a glance at it, and he said, let's go. But he's an amazing guy.
Yeah, everything I hear so far, it sounds like he's the guy, because the program now it's in a good spot from the outside looking in. Obviously, what the previous regime was able to do was remarkable, and now he's in a great spot, and he's continuing that and building on it, right? Are you excited about that?
Yeah, it's in a great spot. Yeah, we transitioned over to sports, which a lot of my friends who I played football with are now coaching there. So like Bobby Wade was a standout wide receiver, played in the NFL. So you go back and you see all these familiar faces. For me personally, it's like going back and having all that camaraderie back there. I was back there for alumni weekend, and Erica Barnes, the assistant AD, we've been friends for a while. Bobby Wade, Lance Briggs, Matt Molina, all these guys that I played with, I went and saw them again. And it's like you have those friends where you don't need to talk to every single day, but when you see them, it's like no time has passed. And that's how I feel when I go back there and talk to Brent and or Coach Brennan, my old teammates. Culture is really good there right now, though.
Yeah,
really good.
Everything I see, it looks like it is. Last thing really I got for you then throughout the book, so we touched a little bit on your battles with alcoholism. I'm sure it goes more in depth in here. Are there other things that people should know before reading this book that are going to be in here, or things they'll get out of it?
Well, that's the biggest thing I want to, is it's not about me. This book isn't about me. There's certain parts of it where I talk and give a personal anecdote to help relate to the audience, the viewer, the listener. But this book is about you, and I just try and relate, but it's not an autobiography. The alcoholism is a very small part of it. Addiction could be social media, it could be porn, it can be sex, it can be all these different things. So that was just mine. But it's really trying to relate and give other people a skill set. So the whole point of Mental Legacy was, I'm not a wealthy person. You know, I want to gain wealth and do certain things, but for my kids, I want to give them emotional and mental skills so they can navigate life on their own. So if something ever happens to me, they have this, and that would be my legacy that I leave to the kids. So the book is about everybody else. It's giving them skills and tools to use so they can use them themselves and pass down to whoever they want to.
And that feeds into one more thing then. So obviously you've had that opportunity to pass down this wisdom a little bit. You were telling me it's your son's birthday today as well. So you have a kid. What's it like knowing that, you know, as your kid gets older, that you're going to be able to continue to pass on knowledge like this and say, not only that you wrote a book that's cool and all, I don't think the kids maybe might not care as much about that, but the fact that you get to live and be that example for them.
Well, I have two. I have my son, River, my daughter, Savannah. It feels good to be at a place where I can do this, because I wasn't always at a place where I had these skills, and they're always growing. I'm flawed, I make mistakes, but it gives me a new added patience when I'm talking to my kids, when I see them react. Adults can't control their emotions, so to expect a child to do that in certain situations is just naive. So it gives me more patience, because now that I have this book and I have these things, it really helps me pause and settle down so I can really focus on what am I trying to instill in my son or my daughter at this moment, which is a good feeling.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. The book now, you can get it wherever you get your books, right? Amazon, wherever, Mental Legacy.
It's on Amazon.com right now, Audible. I recorded the Audible, so that'll be soon out. I'll let you know when that's out, but right now you can get on Amazon.com.
Okay, and they can find you where?
Instagram at Rudy Montijo, TikTok at Rudy Montijo MS. I'm on Facebook, all my socials, public, but you can find me pretty easily, so I'm not a hard guy to find.
All right, Rudy, thank you so much. I'm definitely looking forward to reading the book, and it was great talking to you.
Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate it.